the same issues that Obafemi Awolowo campaigned with, or Nnamdi Azikiwe or Madu Bello, were the same thing Shagari and the others campaigned with in the Second Republic, were the same thing MK Abiola and Tofa campaigned with in 1993, it was the same thing that Obasanjo and the others campaigned in 1999, and so we still have these basic issues: education, health, good road, housing, food security, and all of that. We're still talking about this same basic thing for the past 4 or 5 decades. Now, talk to us about the need for the how, because it's easy to line up all of these things in manifestos and documents to say, okay, fine, this is the document. But the how of how to translate that document into what the people should, or what should be prosperity for the people, it seemed to be the challenge from the First, Second, Third Republic, and even the Fourth Republic so far.
Yeah, I mean, it would seem that we haven't solved any major social problem in the last 40 years in Nigeria. And let's just take off from the renewed hope that you were just talking about. And clearly, one of the things that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed says he's going to do in that document is to essentially double GDP over his course of 8 years. Essentially, he wants the economy to grow by 10%. And, to do that, he wants to expand, the market economy. He wants to stimulate consumption by creating a credit system in the country. He wants to create jobs, and to create jobs, he wants to implement an industrialization policy for him to achieve that. He wants to drive some sort of an agricultural revolution. Now, the question is, from what is stated in his document, if he implements those policies clearly, and for me, it's almost similar to what the South Koreans did between 1979 and 1988, and what the Brazilians did between 2002 and 2008. And in those two situations, South Korea moved from exporting about $150 million in a year to $160 billion in just 10 years, growing faster than industrialized nations did in 100 years. What the Brazilians also did was exceptional. Lula da Silva ensured that he moved 40 million people into the middle class from poverty by doing two critical things: opening the market economy and some sort of welfare system that put monies in the hands of the poor. So if Asiwaju Ahmed is able to do, as stated in his document, that he will promote a private sector-led economy, and on the other side, a welfare system that puts money in the hands of the poor, then we are likely to see that our economy will grow. I'm not as optimistic as his economist advisors are to say we're going to grow at 10% in the first 2 years. But I'll be cautiously optimistic to say we can grow at 4 or 5%. And if you maintain a 4 or 5% growth over the next 8 years, we are likely to be able to double GDP. We're likely to be able to create at least 10 million jobs. We're likely to be able to expand the economy. But the key, like you said, in how we can actualize this is by having a technical core, because that's what the Brazilians did and that's what the Koreans did. They ensured that the bureau that controlled and managed the economy and that managed the welfarist system were a group of technically competent individuals who had the finest education, who had the integrity, who were well-resourced to be able to implement the agenda of the president without any interference and to see it through to a logical conclusion. So the difference here, or the devil now, will be in the ability to create a competent bureaucracy that will be able to implement those policies to the letter without being bogged down by our usual civil service bureaucracy where files aren't moving, where our guy is not in office today, where you are looking for director of implementation, you can't find him. If that happens, we're going to be in this same mess that we've been over a long period of time. But if Asiwaju is able to find not just the competent team in Aso Rock, but the competent team in the bureaucracy to be able to drive many of these policies and programs, then the hope that the document touts might just be realized in 8 years. And I usually don't buy the argument that countries cannot grow fast in 8 years. It's a fat lie because I've given you 2 instances. It took 12 years for South Koreans to grow and modernize. It took 10 years for the Brazilians to leave 40 million people out of poverty. So we can achieve that in the next 8 years if we're able to implement these policies to the latter.
All right.